I had a lot of notes for the Swordsmith Village, but it was turning into an hour and a half video, and I just honestly don't think there's that much to say about it, so we're just going to talk about it off the rip. Hey guys, welcome back to Everything Anime Podcast. I'm your host Shinry, here at the Everything Anime Podcast, talking from anime, manga, video games, TV shows, and whatever relevant topic you're talking about. Today's video is on the Demon Slayer, the Swordsmith Village arc, chapters 97 to 127. Now, this is the arc I recently finished in the anime, the current arc. I have seen the Hashira training arc movie. I thought it was trash. It should never call that a movie. It was 2 episodes that could have been on Crunchyroll, because that's what it felt like, or even 1 episode, but it was not that good to call it a movie. So since then, I have started reading the manga to catch up to where I'm at and then finish the manga once and for all. And now that I'm caught up to the Swordsmith Village arc, I can go ahead and do that. Now, I did originally have a lot of notes on this video, but it was turning out to be almost a 2-hour video, just how much I had to say. And there's not really that much that happens in the arc. It was just I go through, when I do manga videos, I like to tell you guys what I'm talking about, so I'll go through everything bit by bit. But because this arc is so fresh and new in everybody's minds, I don't think I need to do that much. I'm just gonna talk about what I thought about it, any thoughts and feelings and things like that, or anything I didn't remember. And there's a lot I surprisingly didn't remember, because I kind of this is where I zoned out. This is another arc that I thought was really boring, so I kind of zoned out. But when the chapter does open up, Asuka is our main central point of view, because we're now in we're in the changing room where all these demons are. The upper ranks are meeting for the first time, and so we meet upper rank 5, who kind of reminds me of Sasori and Adaria from Naruto, because he's obsessed with art.
An artist must always seek ever greater stimulation, lest his senses go dull on him, my man. A canvas truly worthy of my artistry.
What? Those pirate techniques of yours, art? Art is a work of beauty, captured and left for posterity. Art is eternal beauty.
Eternal beauty? Are you kidding me? Look, don't get me wrong. As a fellow artist, I respect your point of view, but true art is fleeting, a flash of beauty burning brightly and then vanishing in a heartbeat.
So I'm just gonna talk about everything now. Some of his things are he can turn. He likes to mix demon slayers. He pulls demon slayers into his pot, he'll trick them in there, and then whenever he shows them off, they're their bodies are all entangled together and twisted, and they have swords sticking out of their mouths, and he's like, oh, look what I can do with them. I can make them scream. I can make my art talk. And he'll twist a blade inside their mouths, and they'll scream, because even though they should be dead, they're kind of stuck in this limbo-ish state, kind of like something from The Thing, that movie where all those creatures that creature had combined 2 of their bodies together and fused them. It kind of looked grotesque like that, but he thinks that it's beautiful. He's like, oh, look at this art, it's so amazing. And I know the other things he can do is he has control of multiple vases. He can move from vase to vase, as well as summon these demonic kind of fish and water creatures like octopus, and they all have poison, so if they cut you or bite you or stab you, you'll be inflicted with poison. Now, he does fight my favorite character, the Mistachiro Michiro, and during the fight at some point, Michiro's destroying his vases, and he's like, how do you destroy my vases, and stuff like that, or he'll say something about his art being beautiful, and Michiro just has no response, a blank face. Moments like that made me laugh in the manga. Again, because I'm not going in my notes order, I'm just going to talk about what I thought about him. I thought he was kind of funny, especially because, like I said, he gave me Sasori and Adaria vibes. Oh yeah, he can also trap you in a gourd of water. So remember how that spider sister from Baby Demon's art, the spider baby demon, how she could trap you in a ball of silk? And a Hashira could tap that and it would just unravel, but regular demon slayers would just suffocate and drown inside of it. He has the same thing, except when Michiro tries to get out of this water prison that he's been trapped in, his Nichiren blade won't work. And Michiro does eventually break out, because it turns out he has one of those they're called, we learned something like demonic marks, but material forms like these cloud like marks, kind of like how Tanjiro's flame expands and it allows them to break free. And we learned that like those marks appear when you have high emotions and things like that. So that was a pretty interesting fight. The other demon that we have in this arc is a demon upper rank 4, Hantangu. Oh yeah, Gyoku is the name of the fifth upper rank demon. Then we have Hantangu, who is a scaredy bitch. He's a scared little bitch. I hate this motherfucker. But he's upper rank who's like always afraid. Like he's so we learn that he gets stronger when he's backed into a corner, when his emotions are high. Because if you cut off his head, like successfully, he summons like these doppelgangers or shadow clones of himself, but they all represent a different emotion. Like one is joy, and I think it's like a bird. One is like sadness, who has like a staff, and one of them is like pleasure, which has like a fan. And basically, like, they want you to cut off their heads. Like, Hantangu wants you to cut off his head because the more you cut off his head, the more afraid he gets and the more backed into a corner he gets. And eventually, because again, we're not doing this by notes, we're just talking about it. They back Hantangu into a corner where, like, they try to cut off his head again, but this time, like, it gets stuck. I think Tanjiro tries to go to cut off his head, but his blade gets stuck, or Genya, one of the two. And his blade gets stuck, and that's when like they're afraid. The clones are afraid they're gonna cut off his head, so they kind of fuse together into one. At one point, there was 5 clones. I forget. It was very confusing, even in the manga to understand. I think in the anime it makes more sense, but in the manga it's hard to understand how many clones there were at a time. But eventually there was 4, and they fused into one, and it becomes like a single demon, kind of like when Evil Boo ate Fat Boo and became like Super Boo.
Who make you chocolate?
I don't believe it. Look at him. He's even meaner looking than the last one.
It was kind of giving me that. It was just a lot going on in the manga at that time. And they fuse together, and then they become like this ultimate form demon. They trap the scaredy little bitch demon inside of a tree, and they're protecting her. And and they basically like, how dare you guys pick on a demon that's afraid and weak and scared? You guys are just bullies. And I remember reading this, and I was calling it out because, again, I don't remember much from the anime, but I was calling it out. I was like, bitch, y'all are demons. And that's upper rank 4. He had to kill a lot of people to get to upper rank. And I love that Tanjiro immediately calls him out. He's like, no, how dare you? You calling him a bully? We're calling us bullies and him a weakling? He's upper rank demon. He's killed thousands of people that can't defend themselves. And I love that the demon had nothing else to say back to Tanjiro. But I love that Tanjiro was our insert character in that moment to call out that demon for that shit. That was great. Upper rank 3 demon. Which one was that? Do I have that in my notes? Oh, upper rank 3 demon is Asuka. That's right. Then we meet upper rank 2 demon, which was the random demon I thought he was random, but he's the demon that turned Gyotaro and Daki in the previous entertainment arc. And his name is Doma. Now, he gives me like a cult leader. I don't know much about him yet, but like at the end of the arc, at the end of this like saga, basically, he's talking to everybody else leaves, and like some people come in there like, hey boss, we got some new followers, and he's like, oh, bring them in. And he gives me like a cult leader maybe, or like he's pretending to be like a preacher or something. I don't know. I can't see what else is about him, because he gives me like this, he gives us this like goofy vibe, because at one point we learned that like he came in way later than Asuka. He mentions like, you know, Asuka was upper rank 3, but I got promoted to upper rank 2 because I'm stronger than him. And then there's a bunch of like infighting where like Asuka's constantly cutting up his head, but like Doma don't even give a shit because his head grows back instantly. He's like, oh yeah, you know, he's just upset. Don't worry about it. And that's kind of funny. Very playful. Now here we get to the most confusing part of this shit. Upper rank 1 looks like the swordsman that scared Muzan. When he was after, like, he looks like the swordsman that tried to kill Muzan at one point, because we learn like later he talks about like Tatandro's dad. Okay, so let me explain this now, because this is where I'm getting confused, and that's why I'm going all no notes. There is a secret weapon inside of the Swordsmith village that is modeled after him. And it has 6 Zords because it's supposed to represent like his fighting style. Like he fought, so the way he moved, the way he used his blade was so strong and fast. Like the only way they can mimic it for training was to give it 6 Zords and 6 arms. So we learned that doll is over 300 years old, and it was modeled after that Swordsman. Now, because this is a very short manga, I know that Swordsman, the demon upper rank 1, is that Swordsman. Here's the thing though, 18 years ago, or 15 to 18 years ago, he also helped Tanjiro's father give birth to Tanjiro, because his mother was pregnant at the time and giving birth to Tanjiro. We know that because of a flashback Tanjiro has called an inherited memory that he got from his father. Like, so you inherit memories from your parents and things like that, and other ancestors, and sometimes you think that's your memory. Maybe that's even where deja vu comes from, like we remembering what somebody else remembered. Anyways, he looked human, and it looked like it could have been morning. So he also mentions like, you know, I don't have any heirs or any family under me, and also you know, so there's no relation to Tanjiro or his dad, because Tanjiro has the same red eyes as him, and we're gonna get about to his relations in a second. But he mentions to Tanjiro like, you know, or Tanjiro's dad, like, I don't have any family or heirs, and I failed to do the one thing I was supposed to do that was tasked to me. And that told me like, you're the one that's supposed to kill Muzan, because later we learned something else, like, oh, this was the blade that almost cut off Lord Muzan's head, but it didn't. So that tells me like the one mission you failed was killing Muzan. But at the same time, how are you human and walking in the daylight, or human-like and walking in the daylight to give birth to Tanjiro like 15, 18 years ago, but at the same time, you're the swordsman that was modeled 300 years ago. And we know Muzan is over 1,000 years old. Now, he doesn't have to be 1,000 years old to have fought Muzan. He can be over 300 years old. He can be around that. But does that mean you are a demon, but you ate the blue spider lily? Or did the blue spider lily give you like immortality and then you became a demon? Because we see his face at the end of the arc or saga, and he looks like a fucking spider demon, like 8 demonic eyes. It was really freaky as fuck. I ain't gonna lie. I got freaked out looking at that panel. But yeah, I'm curious, like, when did he turn and how old is he? Because it's given over 300 years old. It's given that, but I can't tell. I think that's all the demons. Muzan shows up and he's looking like a man again, because, you know, the last time we met Muzan, he was looking like a woman, and that was during the Mugen Train arc. And like I said, go ahead, Queen, if you want to do drag sometimes, I don't care. But then another time we saw him like as a child in the beginning of was that the entertainment arc that he looked like a child? No, that was the beginning of the entertainment arc, because he had just, at the end of Mugen Train, he was like looking like a little kid. And then before that, the first time we met him, he had a family and a child. So is he, and it hasn't been that many years, because the span of years has been like, since Tanjiro was like 15, so maybe he's 18, 3 years. So is he like just playing like a bunch of different like characters, so like to like keep his cover from being blown, or is like kind of like Daki, how she stayed in that one village? Well, Daki stayed in that one village, and that's how that old woman recognized her. She was like, oh, you're that same girl that like would look at people by tilting her head and then and look up and glare at them from under their eyes. So like I'm like, is that what you're doing? You're trying to blend in better, because like he has taken on many forms of cinema, and like I said, if it had been like years, I believe like he had to like keep changing his cover, but because it feels like it's only been 1 to 3 years, I'm like, it can't be that many years that you had to like keep changing your personality and form. But anyways, they're having a meeting because Upper Rank 6 has died, and he's basically saying like to them like, all of y'all are useless. Like, you guys haven't found the blue spider lily. You haven't even killed the master's family, because I know that's what he's talking about, because of what we learned at the end of this. We learned at the end of this chapter, or the end of this arc, that he's from the same clan as the master. So he's like, you guys are fucking useless. And the second upper rank demon's trying to, the fifth upper rank demon was like, hey, I got information. But before he can even say what it is, Muzan cuts up his head, and he's like, go verify the information, and then come back and tell me. Now, what's hilarious is that he would have told him about the Swordsmith village location, which is a major deal. If all the upper rank demons had attacked the Swordsmith village, the demon slayers would be fucked, because the demon slayers rely on the Swordsmiths to make Nichiren blades. Without a Nichiren blade, you can fuck up a demon, but it's not going to die. You'd have to wait till dawn for it to burn away. So I like that, like, Muzan didn't hear that information because, well, I mean, it has to do it because it's for the story, but if Muzan had heard the information, the demon slayers would be fucked, because without being able to make more Nichiren blades, they'd lose against these demons. And the Nichiren blades can break, which is the whole reason why we go to Swordsmith village in the first place. Now, let's see. I'm checking some of my notes, but I'm just going to keep going through it. Now, so we learned too much has passed when we get back to Tanjiro and Zenitsu and Inosuke. And the reason why Zenitsu and Inosuke don't go with Tanjiro to Swordsmith village is Zenitsu woke up like a week before Tanjiro. Tanjiro's been comatose for 2 months. It's anime, so just go with it. He's been comatose. And we take on the perspective of one of the Kakushishi, like just monologuing himself about like Tanjiro and stuff like that. It wasn't really that important, but basically we learned that Inosuke went on a mission already reluctantly. Zenitsu went on a mission already reluctantly, and then him and one of Shinobu's sisters, as they when Tanjiro wakes up and they're telling him everything's going on, they're telling him how much time has passed, and he's like, oh, how's Inosuke doing? And they're like, oh, we haven't seen him. He left like a day later. He's like, oh, then why is Inosuke on the ceiling? And I thought that was pretty funny. Inosuke's like, yeah, you found me. And they just jumped on Tanjiro's bed. Very funny. That made me laugh. But yes, then Tanjiro's like, hey, did I get a new Nichiren blade while I was sleeping? And like, they're like, oh, actually you got a letter, but it's kind of dark. And he reads the letter, and it's just like, those are for you, die, go kill yourself. I put a curse on you, over and over again, from the Swordsmith that like always chases him with the blades because he chipped his blade. We learn later that his name is Hotaro, and he was named by the chief of the Swordsmith village. But he hated his name because it doesn't sound manly. He wanted a more manly name. And the other thing about Hotaru is that no one ever wanted to work with him because his attitude is way too drastic, which we know because he always tries to chase Tanjiro down with a knife. But he's come to care about Tanjiro a lot because Tanjiro always wants to work with him. Tanjiro is like always like, Tanjiro's personality, caring and stuff like that. And he has the same thing as Luffy, like where people are drawn to him. He's the same thing as like, or Oscar, where he draws people to him. And so Hotaru wants to make him a blade that he'll never lose again, basically. Like, he doesn't want Tanjiro to die. And I remember Tanjiro says to the chief, he says something like, well, I'm sorry that I'm not strong enough to control the blade that he makes. And the chief immediately turns around and says, no, he made a blade too weak. His blades are too, he didn't make a blade strong enough for you. which is an interesting perspective because we had learned later, like, if you aren't strong enough, you can't fully use the power of a Nichiren blade. But the chief is like, no, you're way too strong for this blade. He's making you weak Zords. Thought that was an interesting little twist there. Also, there are two major Hashiras in this arc. Mitsuri Kanjiro, who is the love Hashira. Love her design. I love her green hair and pink hair and like her spiral blade. It gives me like the way she uses it gives me like a flag twirler. Like she can whip her blade and things like that. And love breathing is a very unique kind of breathing technique in my opinion. So again, because we're not going based off notes, I'm just gonna talk about her. I like that her thing was like, I joined the Demon Slayer course to find a man. And this might be my assumption, but I'm wondering if she's going to get with Zenitsu. Because I'm like, Zenitsu joined the Demon Slayer to find a woman that he could, like, love and not be a simp to, but, like, because we know it's more than that. He wants to find a woman that, like, he can make himself valuable to. Now, Mitsuri's whole thing is, like, she was supposed to have an arranged marriage, but, like, he didn't like her because she had, like, pink and orange green hair and she was super strong, like even as a child. Remember that backstory from One Piece where like what's the dog man's face name, Katakuri, like as a baby he stood up from his he walked out the room, made his own bottle of milk and then sat down on a chair or something like that. Just
片栗お兄ちゃんはね、ただの無敗の男じゃない。生まれてこの方、一度も地面に背をつけたことがない超人なのよ。
どうせ無理無理。
この世に生まれたその瞬間に立ち上がり、椅子に座って寝たという伝説に始まり、人生で一度も横たわったことがない地面を見下す男。いつも気高く、冷静で強く、全てが完璧な人間。それが私たちの片栗お兄ちゃんなのよ。
It was giving me that. The way, like, she as a baby was carrying this, like, it was like 33 pounds. Before a baby, that's very strong. To lift up 33 pounds, because that's some weight. And then, you know, she eats like a sumo wrestler. She can eat more than a sumo wrestler. Like, so, like, any anime character, Goku, Luffy, Naruto. Well, Naruto never ate like that, comically. But, yeah, Luffy, Naruto, maybe Asta. And so, you know, she had an extreme personality. But she at one point tried to change like her hair and she stopped eating so much, so she changed her hair to black and then she would starve herself because it made her more presentable to men and men did want her. But I'm glad she learned, because it's a good lesson. Like in that same arc we get her backstory that her parents was like, hey, you know, be yourself. If they don't love you for who you are, then fuck them. So she went back to eating. She undyed her hair and then eventually, like randomly, which I kind of liked, but the snake Hashira gave her like these socks that she loves and she wore them every day. And the master was like, oh, someone will value your strength one day. So I feel like she might get with Zenitsu because, again, Zenitsu wants to be valuable to a woman and she wants to be valuable to a man, or she wants a man to acknowledge her. But I don't know that for sure. Just speculation, but I think it'd be cool. But I do like her. Also, when she first shows up, that fusion super boo demon I was talking about, he calls her a tramp the moment she shows up because the way she looks and her boobs are like halfway exposed. And that pisses her off. She's like, how dare you call me a tramp? Random humor like that is always great in an anime and manga. Not much else to say about her. I mean, like, she kind of gives you like a bliss kind of mindset. Like not all the lights are on upstairs, but like she's smart enough. She just has like a blissful personality where she's always happy and joyful. I really love that. Very wholesome about her. The other Hashira we meet is named, and my favorite, his name is Michiro something. One second, let me look this up. Michiro Tokito. Now I love this guy. He gives me hidden miss jutsu. I mean, it's obviously its own thing, but like Michiro's whole thing was that he is the no. This one isn't Saname. That's another one. Michiro's had a twin brother. Now, when Michiro was a child, their mother got sick and she died of like an illness. But before she died, I believe her father tried to go find herbs for her and he died during a rainstorm. Like trying to get these herbs, he died during a rainstorm. So these kids, these twin brothers, were at the age of 10 were like left alone to fend for themselves. Which is a recurring theme in Demon Slayer. Like all these kids have to fend for themselves. But I mean, this one was a little bit more unique. And so the master's wife, one day went to visit them, and she was like, hey, you guys are descendants of sunbreathers. So this automatically made me think, because Michiru mentions like Tanjiro, his eyes remind him of his father. His father had the same red eyes. So I'm wondering if they're like distant cousins or something like that, because Tanjiro also descends from sunbreathers, but it's not confirmed, so I'm not going to say that. But I'm just curious if like Tanjiro and Michiru are going to be cousins or something. But anyways, the older brothers, or the other twin brothers, like, hey, get the fuck out of here. We ain't joining your demon circle. We don't care about sunbreathing. Like, the only people we have are me and my brother. And the reason why he says this, you don't learn until later, is because he loves his brother. He like, we're the only ones we got left. Our parents are dead. We're 10 years old. We have to find food for ourselves, keep shelter for ourselves, get water. We have to basically raise ourselves. I'm not losing you to a demon. I'm not losing you to a sickness or anything like that. You're staying here with me. You don't get that from him at first. You think his older brother, Michiru thinks his brother hates him, but it's really because his brother's trying to protect him. Well, one random night, because it was hot during the summer, they kept the door open. Now, I don't know if like leaving the door open invites a demon in, because you know how like vampires can only come in if you have vampires can only come in if they're invited in. I don't know if demons can only come in into a home necessarily, or like be invited in if the door's open. But like one night they left the door open and a demon came in and it like killed his brother. And then it attacked Michiru too. But Michiru, the moment he saw his brother in danger, he like blacked out. And he had no idea what happened. But the next morning, that demon was like cut into pieces and stabbed with like stakes and shit like that. And Michiru talks about how his body got heavy. And he just didn't know why, but he waited till sunlight till that demon burned away. And he didn't have no reaction when the demon burned away. He just tried to get back to his brother. But as he walked, like, his body got heavy, so he started crawling, trying to get to his brother. But when he finally got to his brother was, like, already covered in maggots and, like, just... I don't know how fast insects eat your body, but, like, it sounded gross. It sounded terrible. And maggots were filling up his body, too, like Michiru's. But that's when he learns, like, his brother's like, hey, God, I don't know why you allowed this to happen, but please just save my brother. Please don't let anything happen to him. I love him. He's the only brother I have left. He's the only family I have left. Loved that reveal. And again, I would have gone through this in my notes directly, but like I said, it was turning into a two-hour video to talk about this, and the Swordsmith Village doesn't feel like it needs a two-hour video. Like the other ones, sure, but this one just didn't feel like it. And yes, I know there's a major reveal at the end. We'll get to that when we get to that. But yeah, just let that reveal about Michiru, and that's when he like realizes like I have like this other power. This like when I get raised up and really angry, these cloud marks form, or these. Well, we learned from the 5th upper rank demon, like they look like demon marks. Don't know if that's really what they are, but they're like clouds, and again, it's like Tanjiro's mark when it expands. And it basically allows him to beat the upper rank 5th demon in a very cool panel. Loved that. Some other things moving out is let's talk about Genya. Then we'll talk about the characters, and we'll talk about everything else. So then we meet Genya, the character from the 5th survivor from the Demon Slayer. What was that called? Demon Slayer entrance exams. He was the 5th one, so we know it was Genya. It was one of Shinobu's sisters, it was Zenitsu, it was Inosuke, and it was Tanjiro. Those were the 5. And we finally meet Genya again. Now, the first thing Tanjiro says, because he's going to the hot spring, because Mitsuri, the love Hashira, she's like, hey, why don't you go to the hot springs and rest up or something like that, or somebody told him to go to the hot springs. No, Mitsuri told him about a secret weapon, and then the chief told him to go to the hot springs. And so he gets to the hot springs, and he sees Genya there. He's like, hi, Genya. Genya's the first thing Genya says is die. And I just like, it was just so funny. Just some random, you just like hated somebody, just like, die. Tanjiro still tries to talk to him, and that's when Genya tries to drown him. Very funny. Now, we learn later why his personality is so extreme. But let's talk about his ability first. So, the first time we see Genya as a demon, Tanjiro has no reaction. He just doesn't give a shit. He's like, oh, hey, Genya, you want to go kill that upper rank demon with me? Oh, no, because Genya says, like, so they're... because I'm not going, like I've already mentioned this before, I'm not going through any notes. But anyways, the upper rank demon, upper rank 4 and 5 demon attack Swordsmith Village at the same time. The upper rank 5 attacks like a certain area, and the upper rank 4 just walks in on Michiro and Tanjiro having a conversation. And like he just acts like they don't see him. He's just like crawling. And then Michiro like goes for the insta kill, but like the scary little bitch gets away because he's a scary little bitch. But at some point, that's when like they start cutting off his head, but that's what he wants. And then the 3 clones appear, or 4 clones appear. I forget the number, but I know at some point there's 4 clones in total before they fuse into one. But the Genya shows up. Oh no, 2 clones appear first, and then Genya shoots both of their heads off because Michiro and Tanjiro are struggling with them. And that's when I think 2 more clones appear. But anyways, so at some point they're all fighting these demons, but they're also trying to go after the upper rank 4 demon, because you can fight these clones all you want, all day, all night, cut off their heads and whatnot. But even with the Nichiren blades, they're not gonna die, because just like with Gutaro and Daki, these upper rank demons have like a special way of cutting their heads off. Like you can't just cut off their heads and it'll be over. So unless you cut off, well, except upper rank 5, you can cut off his head and that's it. But upper rank 4, if you don't cut off the main body's head, he'll just keep summoning clones. And we learned that also at the end as well. I'll get to that again. We'll get to that. But he can summon as many clones as he wants. But yeah, so Genya tells Tanjiro, like, I'm going to be the one to cut off the upper rank's head because I have to become a Hashira. As he has his demonic face, and Tanjiro's like, okay. And I was just like, you're not going to ask about the demonic face? But it turns out, so Genya is the only demon slayer who cannot use any breathing techniques. Although he has a gun, a Nichiren gun, which gave me like Attack on Titan Season 3 vibes when the gunslinger showed up. That's pretty dope. And he has a Nichiren blade. He just can't use breathing techniques. But what he can do is he can eat demonic flesh because his body is special. Kind of like Teach from One Piece / Blackbeard. His body's very unique. So he can eat demonic flesh and he take on the like abilities and capabilities of a demon. So he can basically use the powers of a demon temporarily, meaning he can heal himself. As long as his head's not decapitated, he's fine. He can basically heal from anything, which was very fucking cool and a very unique thing, because there was somebody else that couldn't use breathing techniques, and that was Rengoku's brother Sengoku, but I don't think he's gonna have any relevance. But like I remember he couldn't use any breathing techniques either. And his Nichiren blade wouldn't change colors. More about Genya. Oh yeah, so Genya's backstory. So this is interesting. Genya's brother is the Wind Hashira Saname, who has all them cuts and scars over his body. Now, the reason why Saname had that extreme personality when he saw Nezuko, I mean, obviously he's a Hashira, he's a demon slayer, so he was testing Nezuko to prove that she's a regular demon that'll kill people, is because Genya and Saname were like a sibling of 6, like 2 of 6 siblings. And their father was a brute that beat their mother and beat his children. He died off screen, don't matter. And their mother was a short woman, but a good woman. And she loved her children. Well, one night, and she worked all day, but come home at night to be with her kids. Well, one night, she didn't come back. It was just getting late, and like the siblings were like worried. And Saname, I think, went out to find her. And the more time went on, the other kids were getting worried, and Genya's trying to reassure them. He's like, hey, don't worry, she'll be back by morning, and Saname will be here too. Let's just go to sleep. But they hear a knock on the door, and they go to check it. And Genya's like, wait, it might not be our parents. Because you gotta remember, your parents taught you as a kid, like, hey, unless it's me, and you confirmed it's me, do not open this door. Well, the kids are too excited. They want to see their mother, so they open the door, and they get attacked by a wild boar / well, we know it to be a demon. But in Genya's mind, he thought it was a wild boar. It obliterated through them children, including Genya. Genya got cut up. But at the same time, Saname came to the door. He's like, run. He's telling his brother, like, get the other siblings out of here. Because Saname and Genya knew as kids, like, because their father was gone, like, we're the men of the house. This is what I mean by the recurring theme, like, children have to take care of themselves. It's almost like Michiro and his twin brother's backstory in the same arc, but it's a little bit different. So, Genya was going out to find a doctor. He told his siblings, like, hey, put pressure on your wounds, which is a lot to tell a child, to put pressure on their own wounds, but like, he's like, he didn't know what else to do. He's like, I gotta find a doctor. I gotta save my siblings. So he ran out to go find a doctor, but instead what he found is Saname holding a knife over their dead mother. Well, she wasn't dead because she's a demon, but like he fucked her up pretty bad. And the first thing Genya says to him is, "Murderer! How could you kill our mother?" Now, this, before I go any further, Genya wants to become a Hashira, 1, to apologize to his brother, and 2, to gain the respect of his brother. Because he didn't realize his mother had been turned into a demon. We don't know how she was turned into a demon. It could have been by upper rank 2. I don't doubt it was probably upper rank 2. But, or it could have been Muzan. I don't know. But, or some random demon. I'm trying to make the story have relevance to each character. I know it could also be reaching to do that, but like, I'm just trying to add relevance. But, he didn't realize that Saname killed a demon. He just saw that he killed his mother. And for one, you got to remember, saying that to a child, 1, that's his mother too. 2, he just realized that a demon exists. 3, his siblings are dead except for you. And 4, you just I think I already mentioned, you called him a murderer, and he's a child. So that probably hit him really, really hard. And I thought that was very sad. So that's Genya's whole motivation. He has to become a Hashira to prove to his brother that like he's strong, he can be respected, and he's sorry. Now also, I forgot to mention, we saw in this backstory like Saname without any scars on his face and him smiling, which was very cute. We also get that from Michiro's backstory, because Michiro's twin brother was always angry, or he looked angry, but as Michiro goes to unconscious, as Michiro falls unconscious after killing the upper rank 5 demon, he sees the spirits of his family, which is a recurring theme in Demon Slayer. His mother and father are there. They're proud of him. And his brother smiles at him for the first time in a long time. And he said he's proud of him too. Very cute. I find that very wholesome. But yeah, so that's Genya's whole motivation. And that's why he had that extreme reaction to Nezuko being turned into a demon. He's like, oh, I'll show you that she's just like every other demon. He wanted to prove to Tanjiro, like, you know, after she kills me, I'm going to kill her. Because in a way, he was kind of protecting Tanjiro. He's like, I know what demons do. I had to kill my own mother. She got turned into a demon. They have no rationality after they're turned into a demon. But Nezuko's proven otherwise, especially by the end. So love that reveal. That was great. That was a great full circle moment for that character, as well as Michiro. And then we just get into a bunch of big fights. That's probably why I'm skipping through these notes. I'll see if I have anything important to say about the battles. Oh, let's talk about the secret weapon real fast. So, the secret weapon that Mitsuru told him about has to do with this mechanical doll that looks like the Swordsmith from 300 years ago. Now, a little kid is guarding it because, like, it's the last thing his father or grandfather left to him to, like, protect. And he's like, if this doll breaks, I can never, like, restore it. It'll always be broken. And there's a point to want to bring this up in a second. But Michiro is like, hey, I'm a demon slayer. This is my job to fight demons. I can only if I can't get stronger, then, like, you know, no one's going to be protected. So he tries to, like, manhandle this kid. Of course, that pisses Tanjiro off. And I thought he was going to go in for his famous headbutt, but instead Tanjiro grabs him by the wrist. But Tanjiro knows that despite his wrist is smaller than him, like, Michiro ain't letting go. Like, Michiro got a death grip on that kid, or Tanjiro's just weak as fuck. Michiro does knock out Tanjiro, and as he's getting knocked out, he sees Hotaru in the distance watching him, because Hotaru, he was too shy to accept that, you know, Tanjiro wanted to come there and see him and apologize to him. He was too shy. So he's just hiding in the background. I thought it was pretty funny. But when Tanjiro wakes up, the little kid's crying. Michiro took the key. And that's when we go find out the secret weapon is a mechanical doll. And Michiro's fighting it. Now, the kid says, like, normally it takes a whole day of training to fight that thing. But Michiro finishes in just about an hour. But the battle cost him his Zord. Like, it chipped his blade. So he just, like, breaks off one of the hands on the Zords. And he's like, oh, I'm taking this. So now the Swordsman, instead of having 6 arms, has 5. This kind of gives you relevance to, like, tell you how strong Tanjiro is compared to that Swordsman, because again, this mimicked that Swordsman's fighting style, 6 Zords. And so having 5 Zords means Tanjiro was just under it. It's kind of like when One Piece, when, like, again, I know I'm making comparisons, but like in One Piece, whenever, like, we were fighting CP6, and CP6 ranks themselves by, like, how strong they are.
早速やってくると思ったわ、フクロウ。
六式遊戯手合わせ。武器を持った一人の衛兵の強さを柔道力としてお前たちは暴くぞお前たちの強さ。まずカリファ630動力、ブルーノ820動力、各2200動力、ルッチ4000動力。
4000だと？おい、真面目に測ったのか？そんな動力聞いたことねえぞ。
本当だ、みんな強くなった。チャパパー、ジャブラもクマドリも測ってあるから誰が強いのか分かったぞ。
おい、意義ありだフクロウ。ルッチはともかく俺が核にまで負けてるとはどういうことだ。
チャパパー、核も強くなってしまった。
おう、いい気になってんじゃねえぞ核。手合わせはあくまでも大義のレベルを測る技だ。俺は実戦では悪魔の実の能力が加わるんだ。おめえには負けんということを忘れるな。
好きに思え。わしはそんなものに興味ないわい。そうさ、野良犬の話などに耳を貸すな。
But that's who each Straw Hat fights. That tells you how strong each Straw Hat is compared to each other. I think Lucci was 4,000, which is Luffy. Kaku was 2,200, which was, or 2,800, which was Zoro. Zoro is 2,100 points less stronger than Luffy, and then 2,200 was like the other guy, the wolf guy, which was Sanji. Sanji's relevant to Zoro. Zoro's a little bit stronger. And then at the very bottom was like a guy at like 50 or 100, which was Chopper. It's telling you, without telling you, how strong the Straw Hats are in comparison to each other. This is telling you how strong Tanjiro is compared to that Swordsmith by having him struggle against the 5 Zord style instead of 6. And eventually Tanjiro, he doesn't beat it, but he lands a hit on it. And what happens is like, so after Michiro takes the blade, the little kid gets angry. And Tanjiro's like, oh, I'm sorry, we'll fix it. And the little kid's like, no, fight it. I want you to train. I want you to get stronger than that asshole that just took that blade. I want you to get way stronger than him. Like, let's do this. But the little kid doesn't know how to train anybody, so he starves Tanjiro. He doesn't give me food. He doesn't give me water. And the only reason Tanjiro doesn't die from the lack of food and water is because it rains, and Tanjiro drinks that rain. But because of this heightened emotion, because of this starvation, Tanjiro actually got stronger. This kind of reminds me of like people that fast. Like, your body kind of does adjust if you fast and just drink water. I've never fasted before, but I know people that have done that, and you still train. And so Tanjiro now has like a perceptive ability where he can like predict his opponent's next moves. And so this allows him to land one hit on the doll. But the one hit he lands, or no, it didn't say how many, I think a week passed before he landed one hit. Then it doesn't say how much time passes, but eventually Tanjiro decapitates that thing's head off. When he does this, he finds the hidden secret weapon, which is the Zord that almost cut off Muzan's head. Or failed to cut off Muzan's head, but almost did. And so that's Tanjiro's new blade. But before he even uses it, Hotaru shows up out of nowhere, looking muscular as fuck. And he's like, "Give me that blade." And they're like, "Wait, whoa, Hotaru, what are you doing?" He's like, "Give me that blade." He didn't even tell him why he needs it. And then we learn he has some random weakness to tickling. It doesn't have any relevance, but like, he takes the blade. And then this was really cool. So, because I'm not going in order of my notes, I'm going to stop saying that because I just want you guys to know, like, normally there's a better flow to this. He says it's going to take 3 days and 3 nights to polish his sword. Now, I don't know if actually 3 days and 3 nights passed. I know, because it feels like 1 day passed. But because we can't really tell time and Demon Slayer, we have to assume that, like, he was on the 3rd day of polishing the Zord. But anyways, the same night Hotaru was polishing that Zord, upper rank 5 dude and finds him. He finds him, the little kid, and Michiro. But Hotaru is like polishing that Zord. And despite everybody's dying around Hotaru is just focused on fixing that blade. Because you have to remember what the chief said. Hotaru wants to make a blade for Tanjiro that'll never break. He wants to make sure Tanjiro never loses again. That's his whole dedication. So despite even the demon attacking him at one point, Upper Rank 5 just wants to see how fucking dedicated this guy is. And he attacks him, he cuts him, he takes out one of his eyes, and Hotaro's still just chipping away at that blade. He's like, what the fuck? This guy's concentration is way better than mine. That was hilarious. That's great humor. And that fits like this demon's whole personality. We don't get the demon's backstory, but we can tell like he's probably like somebody obsessed with art or something like that. But I found that really funny and very creative. So that was great. Yeah, so Hotaro tries to polish that door for like 3 days. Oh, we're assuming 3 days, 3 nights. Before I talk about the ending, let me see if I have any other notes that are like particular. Random note. At one point, Mitsuri, the love Hashira, goes to fight the fusion demon, and it like hits her point blank with like a sonar scream, and like he's surprised about her durability of her body. Like her eyes are rolled behind her head, but like he's like surprised that her body's still fully intact. Thought that was very cool. It gave me like Rock Lee when Rock Lee stood back up after like losing Nagara, and his body still wanted to fight, but his mind was gone.
Not going to be the only one to lose here. The fourth gate, gate of pain, open!
Incredible. No one can do that through sheer effort alone. The boy's truly a genius. He's faster than ever.
My armor can't withstand this pounding. Try this!
His muscles are tearing themselves apart.
The fifth gate! Gate of closing! Open! No human could move like this. Impossible to defend myself. He not only survived the hidden lotus, he is able to go on the attack! Sand coffin! Now you die! Why save him?
Because he's my student. And also because he is precious to me.
Huh? I quit.
The winner is...
Huh?
It can't be. After all that, he shouldn't be able to move, let alone stand up. Lee. Oh, Lee. What have I done? Look at you. Not even conscious. And still determined to show the world what you can do. Nothing keeping him up but sheer willpower. You've already proven it.
Still. That was very cool. It just showed you how cool Mitsuri is as a character. I think I was just gonna jump to the end. I don't think. Yeah, this is where we're basically getting to the end because I see like I have 2 pages of notes left, but I know basically what the ending is. Okay, so the way the fights break up is that like eventually Mitsuri shows up fighting against the fused upper rank demon, fused upper rank 4 demon, which we're just gonna call evil. We're gonna call evil 4, like super 4. Meanwhile, Hantangu, upper rank 4, is being a little scaredy bitch and running away. He eventually shrunk down to like the size of a Smurf and ran for his life. One other hilarious thing that's again hypocritical about him is like Tanjiro with his blade. Nezuko sets his blade on fire using her demonic flames, and it turns his blade red, like a red hue. And this is where we get that note, I think, that like Tanjiro's blade is mimicking the swordsman that almost cut off Muzan's head. And Tanjiro goes to cut off the upper rank 4's head, and he's halfway through, and the upper rank demon gets all giant and angry because again, when he's backed in the corner, he gets stronger. He's choking Tanjiro. He's like, "How dare you pick on a weakling? You're picking on somebody that can't defend themselves. You're a bully. I just like, you were a hypocrite, dude. You were a fucking demon and a killer." But luckily, Genya's coming in to save him. In the anime, it goes on way longer, but in the manga, Genya easily rips his hands off. And like they all like get into a struggle, and Nezuko, Tanjiro, and upper rank 4 fall off a cliff, while Genya, Michiro, who had just finished his fight with upper rank 5, the little kid, and Hotaru are on the top of the cliff. Meanwhile, Mitsuri is taking on the fused upper rank 4, and upper rank 5 has been dispatched by Michiro. I already talked about that earlier. So we now get to the final stages. Now, Mitsuri, even though she's fighting upper rank 4 fusion, again, even if you cut off its head, because it's not the super upper rank 4, it's not the original, so fighting it isn't going to get anywhere. So she's basically stalling for them. Genya can't kill the Hashira, so he told Tanjiro to do it. He's like, "Tanjiro, you know what? Forget what I said. You're the only one that can cut off the demon's head. I can heal. You can't. So go ahead and well, I can." He just basically says Tanjiro, like, it's fine. I'll let you do it this time. But basically, like, Tanjiro, you're stronger than me. Do it. Well, also, he didn't have a breathing technique, so that's probably why. Now, Michiro's there because he stole the blade from Hotaru, the one Hotaru was polishing, and he throws it to Tanjiro. He's like, "Hey, use this to cut off that demon's head." And, Hotaru's protesting. He's like, "Hey, the sword's not done being polished." And they're all, like, telling him, like, "Hey, shut the fuck up. Like, let Tanjiro do this." Now, Tanjiro is very weak at this point. He's very tired. And I'm forgetting to mention that the sun's coming up. The sun is rising. Now, you would think this would be a good thing. Like, the sun's going to catch all these demons. These demons ain't got nowhere to run at this point. As long as y'all stall them until the sun comes up, they're going to die. But because Tanjiro is weak, Hantangu is like, well, before I die, I'm going to kill at least a few humans. So Hantangu is like chasing these random Swordsmiths that are in this open field. Oh yeah, they're in an open field. Let me give a better description. They're in this open field with grass. That's why the demon has nowhere to go. As the sun comes up, they're all fucked. And Tanjiro is like debating about what to do. He's like, well, do I go after the 4th upper rank demon, which is the obvious choice, or do I protect Nezuko because the sunlight is starting to rise up and it's starting to burn her face, and Nezuko is a demon. And he's trying to tell Nezuko to shrink. He's like, "Nezuko, shrink, please shrink." But Nezuko notices, like, hey, that upper rank demon is still after those humans. Tanjiro, even if the sun burns them, kill it. Your job is to save those demon slayers. In the anime, this is dragged out, but I have to give it to the anime for dragging this scene out. The anime did do it very well, very emotional, very touching. But the manga, you still get that same feeling and emotion because she just vaults him in the next chapter. Kicks him up, exposing herself to full sunlight, but she's smiling. And you understand. There's no, like, long, drawn-out scene of Tanjiro having all these memories or, like, thinking back to, like, Nezuko, I know why you're doing this. There's no longer, it's like Tanjiro immediately understands. She's like, Tanjiro, save those people. Don't worry about me. I'm willing to die. And she just smiles and the sun burns her. And it was very sad, even in the manga. I was already sad in the anime. When I saw this first time in the anime, because, again, this is the first, I just recently finished that arc. I was shocked. I was like, are you going to kill a major character like that? It is always a shock when a major character dies. Like a major character you've grown attached to, a major character you care about, or just a major character in general. I remember at one point, we thought Zoro was going to die. That was shocking. We thought Usopp was going to die. That was shocking. We thought Ichigo died. That was shocking. We thought Naruto and Sasuke died at one point. That was shocking. Those are great moments. Of course, all those characters survived, but those were shocking, great moments. So Tanjiro, again, because it's a manga, he doesn't even say a word. He just, oh, I forgot to mention, he starts using lightning breathing in this art. It's because sun breathers, every breathing technique descended from sun breathing. Tanjiro has the capability to use fire breathing, water breathing, and lightning breathing, and possibly all breathing. But he uses lightning breathing to speedily catch up to the upper rank 4 demon. And I forgot to also mention, he cut off his head once, so that's why he thought like he had won. He managed to actually cut off upper rank 4's head. But upper rank 4 created another clone. That's something like he can create unlimited clones. And this time he hid inside the heart of the demon. So it was like a headless corpse chasing these Swordsmiths. And that's what Nezuko saw. That's why Nezuko knew, like, you know, don't save me, save those humans. And so Tanjiro, using his new perceptive ability, can sense where the upper rank 4 is hiding. And again, because it's not the anime, it's not dragged out, he decapitates that thing in one swing. Also, because it's not dragged out, we assumed Nezuko just already burned up. Tanjiro doesn't look back. There's no drawn-out scene of her walking up to him. He's just, like, crying. He's like, I saved you guys, but I lost my sister in the process. And they're trying to tell him, like, hey, turn around. Eventually he does, and in the manga panel, it's just as great as it is in the anime, Nezuko isn't burned. She's alive. She's able to walk in the sunlight. This was a great scene in the anime and manga. I loved it. I clapped. I was so shocked myself. I thought she would die. I did not expect her to walk in the sunlight. She's the first demon to be able to walk in the sun. We're going to get to that in a second about what Muzan thinks about this. But that was just a really great scene. And again, it's not dragged out. She does say good morning. She has a little bit of speech. In the anime, she says good morning like 20 times. But in the manga, she just says it once. And it's, again, a very cute moment. Not many people are there. But the ones I do see it are like Michiro, Hotaro, the little kid, and Genya. They all see it and they're all smiling, and I thought it was great. Plus the Swordsmiths that are with them. And then we switch over to Muzan. Like, there's no goodbye Swordsmith Village arc. There's none of that. That was probably filler from the anime. They literally just go to Muzan's perspective. And so Muzan is, because he can sense every demon, he's aware that, like, Nezuko is able to walk in the sunlight. And he's like, finally, after 1,000 years, I created all these useless ass demons to get one demon to be able to do this. And he's like, now all I have to do is devour Nezuko and I'll be able to walk in the sunlight. Forget the blue spider lily, which I think the first upper rank demon ate. Just speculation, because he's either immortal or he's over 300 years old, but he's able to walk in sunlight too, because again, he looked human when he gave birth to Tanjiro. And I don't know, it could have been a grandfather, it could have been an ancestor, but I'm thinking it's the same Swordsman just because of the story. But Muzan's like, as long as we devour her, I'll be immortal. I can walk in the day and night. Nothing will stop me. So that was very cool. We also get a flashback back to the doctor woman and her lover, whatever his name is. She's writing a note to Tanjiro. She's like, Nezuko's blood has changed multiple times since like you gave me some of her blood. And the dude that got turned into a demon back in the first arc by Muzan, or second arc by Muzan, he's regained enough of his consciousness that he only needs a little bit of blood to get by. So that's very cool. Maybe this guy can even walk in the sunlight now because Nezuko can walk in the sunlight, more than likely. And like, he's back with his wife and things like that. She probably is aware that he's a demon. She has to, or he's hiding and drinking blood bags or something like that. But very cool. And so then Muzan just cuts the charade. He starts killing people left and right. And I even remember in the anime, I thought that was dramatic and crazy. Like when he cut off that woman's head and the other woman's not even aware that woman got her hair cut off. She's like, what the fuck? Great. Even in the manga, it's great. I didn't kill her too, so I guess Muzan's done hiding. He's done pretending to be human. He's done pretending to be a family man, son, daughter, woman, drag queen, whatever he's doing, he's done with that. It's about to be a war for Nezuko. What you know after this arc is the Hashira training arc. I don't know what's after that because the Hashira training arc movie just came out, but I am very excited. Theories. Let's get to the Hashira training arc before I talk about theories, because I don't know. I want to keep this all in order. And I probably will go through my notes in general for the Hashira training arc. But yes, that was my thoughts on Swordsmith Village. I liked it better reading it than I liked watching it in the anime. Probably because some things got dragged out. Probably just because, like, you know, I retain more by reading anyway. But I very much loved the Swordsmith Village, the manga version. I love that Nezuko survived both times. because like I said, the first time I saw the anime was great. I love that, like, Muzan just killed that woman, like, no hesitation, then or his wife possibly, or then the maid, or whatever they were. He killed them without hesitation. That shit was crazy in both scenes. Seeing the first demon's face, very, like I said, scared the shit out of me. Hantango was a little scaredy bitch. I'm not gonna change my opinion on that. I liked Upper Rank 5 Demon's personality with art. I loved that Hotaru was like, did not stop sharpening that sword, no matter how many times he attacked, or his friends dying around him. His friends were dying around him, but he, again, and I think it's because he knew, like, even if I stop to save my friends or help my friends, like, if this blade isn't strong enough to help Tanjiro, these demons are just gonna kill more people. So that's probably what it was. Like, he's like, I have to fix this blade for Tanjiro because it won't matter if we die, or if they destroy the Swordsmith village. There's no more Nichiren blades. So this has to work. This blade will save humanity, basically. So love that. Yeah, that's all for this video. It's already really long, but it's way shorter than the review I was gonna do, especially if I went through my notes completely about what I thought about every scene, every chapter. So 30 pages done in like a 55-minute video. Sounds good to me. So let's not drag this out any longer. See you guys in the next video. Talk to you later. Bye. Hey guys, this video was sponsored by me, the author of the Shinry series, the Chronicles of Wayne, and Monsterverse. So I figured I'd do this outro a little bit different by showing you guys what you guys will be checking out. So, the Shinry series starts with Book 1, Shobu Samurai Project Aryoku. 10 years after the death of his parents, Shobu Samurai returns home seeking vengeance, but instead faces the choice to save his home from shadow creatures, blood beasts, and an organization once thought dead. Shinry's Shobu Samurai starts at $9.99. And if you love anime, manga, Naruto, One Piece, Bleach, Yu Yu Hakusho, Fairy Tail, Shaman King, Rave Master, Zatch Bell, anything like that, the Shinry series is definitely the series for you. You'll definitely want to check it out. The Sword of Light is probably the thickest one so far. And then these books are 2. This is Enter the Dread Zone Tournament. And the series original ending, Arado, the Legendary Conjuring Master. So, and I'll just show you guys some of the covers. Really proud of all of these. But I hope you guys check it out. If you don't like that, I also have the current published books for the Chronicles of Wayne, Love Be Damned, Cotton Candy, Full Moons, Fabled Lovers, A Cursed Virgin's Bite. If You Go Where Monsters Dance, Red Will Rain Over Your House. Love Be Damned. Now, the Chronicles of Wayne is about a geeky guy, or a nerdy guy in high school. His senior year, he has a crush on the hottest guy in school, because of course he does. He's only got one best friend, and her name is Barb. Well, the hottest guy in school turns out to be a werewolf. And to make the story more interesting, he bites Wayne and turns Wayne into the first ever wolfman in the last 10 years. And because of that, it was also a sacred law that wolfmen should never be created. I don't want to get into too much of the Chronicles of Wayne without spoiling it, but I can tell you it's very short. This one sells for $6.99, and Love Be Caged right after it. The ending of this trilogy, Love Be Liberated, comes out in October. So I'm going to definitely do a more full in-depth review of this one. But yeah, it's an LGBT fantasy fiction story about werewolves, vampires, white witches, a dark warlock, and, well, many, many more surprises to come. So if you guys like to read, I definitely recommend. These are all the books so far in the Shinry series, except for Shinry's Beginning. I do have that one, but it's just not here with me. But yeah, I appreciate a like, support, or just a review on Amazon. Either way, thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys have a great day.